Hi, I started a little bit earlier. I see I've got a few people on already. Thank you, welcome. Why don't you let me know in the comments who you are and where you're from? That would be so lovely. We will wait a minute or so more for other people to join us, and then I will kick off. I hope that we will have some people who will join us now. Let me know if you have joined, and if you want to, let me know where you're from. I am Karen Doyle. I am the owner of Ambit Recruitment. Ambit has been in the South African recruitment industry since 2007. So 20 odd years of deep experience in terms of salary negotiations. And we're going to just wait a little bit longer for people to join. Right, I'm going to wait one more minute. And then I will start. Hi, Monique. Lovely to have you. Thank you for joining. We're just waiting for a few more people to join, and then I will kick off. But thank you for your time. I really, really appreciate it. Hoping that we'll get a few more people. I think people are taking their lunchtime. Maybe Monique, if you want, if you could just let me know in the comments what you hope to get from this podcast today. You can just pop me a comment. Got someone else has joined. Maybe you can just say hello in the comments. Let us know who you are and where you're from. And we will just kick off in a bit. So if you want to let me know, if there's anything specific that you would like to get from my podcast today, let me know in the comments, and I will gladly incorporate that. All right. I think let's kick off. I can always recap for other people. and as and when they join. But let's kick off and chat about salary negotiations for South African women. So in my previous podcast, we sort of listened to the hard numbers on South Africa's pay gap between men and women. And also then the next podcast, I talked about the policies that are there to protect equity or equality. And now we want to talk about the real hard facts about how to negotiate your salary as a woman in South Africa. So it's not only, or this session is not only about how to negotiate with employers, but also recruiters. It's really important to understand how to negotiate with recruiters because that's your first step in. There are many recruiters, and I'm one of them, that negotiate salaries on behalf of my clients. So that means there's no negotiation at the end of the process. It's all done upfront. And the reason we do this is to minimize the danger of losing a candidate at the end of the process when we start with that to and fro. And that's often where companies lose candidates because they now have counter offers and the recruiter is maybe not an astute negotiator and they haven't really dug into the figures with the candidate, and then we start losing candidates. So when we negotiate the salary right up front, everyone's clear on the number and there's no to and fro at the end. But that's sort of that's how I work. So ladies, I mean, the hard fact is that men negotiate more and more aggressively and more clearly than women do. I hardly ever have a man in an interview say to me, whatever is market related, it doesn't happen. They say their number calmly and with conviction, and they generally go with a higher number because they know they're going to have to negotiate downwards. And they'll always motivate why they want that number, or generally they will motivate. So if they can bring exceptional value to the client, they will mention that. Women, on the other hand, we tend to wait, we soften, we accept. We've been taught, I think it's a cultural thing across all races. We've been taught not to push. We've been taught to sort of wait and be a little bit submissive, to accept what we're given. And sorry, but I think that's BS now. It's time that we move beyond that. It is time that we take what is ours, ask for what is ours, what is earned. We need to show our value and do it in a calm and very precise manner. There's no need. I think people often think that if women negotiate, they're aggressive. I think that is a misconstrued conception. And we can negotiate as calmly and precisely as men do and ask for what we are worth. So let me take you through the steps of negotiation. The first thing in negotiation is preparation. And I feel that this is where a lot of women lack. We don't prepare. That negotiation starts before you enter that interview with a recruiter, or before you enter that room or that Teams meeting with an employer. So, number one, negotiation is not an aggressive act. You don't have to prove your worth as a human being to anyone. It's not a personal attack. It's a negotiation. So you go into a negotiation calmly and with your facts at hand. And those facts are very, very important. And also remember that you're not going to win all negotiations. Negotiations have to be a win-win for both parties. There's times when it's better to walk away, and you'll know when to walk away and do so with grace. Sometimes there might be something better waiting in the wings, and I think you need to trust your gut. I don't think we trust our guts enough as women. We tend to second guess ourselves, and I can do a whole podcast just on trusting your gut. So to prepare, we need to do research. And we all have AI and ChatGPT, etc. now. So getting an overview is pretty easy these days, but ensure that you prompt properly. AI can be biased, so ensure that it is not biased. Make sure that you ask about your area of expertise, the area that you live in other words, the city, the province. You know, Gauteng versus Cape Town is different. Gauteng versus Durban is different. So just make sure that you prompt it properly. And you can also use Glassdoor, PayScale, Career Junction, as you heard during my podcast with Paul Byrne from who heads up Career Junction and PNet and those platforms. They have wonderful data. And so do your research very, very thoroughly. Look at, even go in and look at adverts of similar roles for what you're applying for and see, make sure that they're in your area and at your level. So do your research. And please, when you are asked what salary you're looking for, please, please, please do not say market related. Market related, honestly, can be as long as a string. And it really doesn't tell us anything, you know, as recruiters or as employers. We want people who are decisive, right? We want women who are strong and decisive. So it really drives me nuts when women say this in an interview. And I do force them during an interview to give me a figure. So do your research, know your worth against that research. And there are 3 numbers that you need to know and decide on before you do any interview. So your ideal number, so your anchor high, your target number, which is the realistic number, which is where you feel that, you know, you should be, and then your walkaway number. So it's the lowest acceptable number that you will accept. So after that, you need to determine the following things: your achievements. So prepare 3 to 4 to 5 measurable outcomes. It could be, I reduced errors by 40%. I brought 4 million Rand of new business into the company. I cut reporting time from 5 days to 2 days. Whatever it is, those achievements are incredibly important. And again, I can do a whole series of podcasts just on writing your CV, because people do not put their achievements on their CVs. And those are vital. Ladies, please, please, please. You're not bragging, you're just stating facts. So whether you want to do it as a separate heading on your CV or as part of each job, whether it's at the top or at the bottom of that job description, please state your achievements. If you don't have any in that one particular job, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But please state your achievements, because those are the deal breakers. And that's what we look for when we want effective and great people in our client companies. Now, the other thing I think that women, again, don't do is to practice their delivery. As a recruiter, I'll tell you this, many years ago, I was trained in an American system of recruitment, and we had to train with a mirror in front of us. Why? Because we needed to see what we look like when we talk to people. And it's very, very helpful. So go and stand in front of a mirror. It's going to be awkward, but the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. So say your number out loud. No softness, no I'd just like, or maybe, or if possible, I'd like. None of that. Or, God forbid, whatever is market related, just say the number. I would like a salary of, and say your number. Calm and clearly. Now, timing matters. If you're asking for a raise in your current role, don't ask in the middle of budget cuts or a crisis or a management restructure. Ask after a strong performance review or after people have noticed your achievements. Prepare again for that. Go in with your evidence. And prepare. Again, prepare in the mirror. Prepare. Also, go in with the right mindset. Always expect resistance. When it comes to salaries, no one's just going to say, oh, yes, of course. Prepare for resistance. That's normal. Being assertive is not being difficult. Also, know the difference between assertive and aggressive. Some women feel that they have to be aggressive when asking for a raise. No, you need to be calm, you need to be firm, but you also need to understand that negotiation is a win-win game, right? So frame your request around your value to the team and the company. And if it's not accepted straight away, ask when that could be reviewed, and ask it calmly, and wait for an answer. So when you're negotiating with a prospective employer, so it's a face-to-face negotiation, start with appreciation, okay? So thank you for your offer, and a smile. Right? We don't smile enough in interviews. Remember to smile. It really creates a lovely impression. Of course, don't overdo it so that you look manic, but smile and say thank you very much for your offer, and then anchor your request. So the market range for this role is between 500 and 600,000. Based on my experience, I believe that I am worth 550,000. I think that is a fair number. Then link that ask to a result. So in my last role, I cut turnaround time by 40%, or I saved costs and I increased accuracy, or I increased revenue by 30% year on year for the past 2 years or 3 years. Whatever that achievement is, frame it once you have asked for that figure. Then, ladies, this is probably the most important part of negotiation. Once you've stated your number and you've anchored it with evidence, stop talking. Zip it, keep quiet, shut up, do not talk. Okay? As women, we feel that we need to fill that space. We now need to start telling them why. We need to motivate more. Just keep quiet. This is so, so vital. And let me tell you, men are very good at this. They say their number and then they keep quiet. And they wait for me or for the employer to then start talking. Okay. So please, that is very, very important. State your number, anchor it with evidence, and then wait. Be quiet. Then you might get pushback. They may say, well, this is our budget. We can't go higher than 530, or whatever the number is. Don't end the conversation there. Look, and you need to prepare for this beforehand. Look at what flexibility you have. So say something like, if the salary is capped, can we maybe look at professional development support? Or could you maybe give me more leave days? Are there any bonuses? Maybe there's a medical aid contribution that could be given. Or is there working hour flexibility? So look for a win-win again. Look for some flexibility and, just always try and frame it as a win-win. So if I'm at this compensation level, it allows me to deliver at full capacity and focus on achieving X for the business, or whatever you're going to frame it around. But do it calmly and be prepared. You never probably going to just get the number. You might have to negotiate. So make sure that you're well prepared, and then also know your alternative, right? The other thing, and you only do this when you genuinely have these. If you have other offers, you could use those offers as a negotiation tool, but you've got to be very, very, very careful, right? So we don't want to feel that we're being played in a negotiation as a recruiter or as an employer. So you could say, Karen, I have 2 other offers at 550, but I really want to work for this company, and then name the reasons why, right? And so maybe that will soften the negotiation further on the employer or the recruiter side. I might say, well, based on the evidence of what you have achieved and the reasons why you want to work for this company, let me go and talk to them and I'll get back to you. So make it very, very clear what, how negotiable you are, what you're negotiable on, but very clear on what your number is. And then leave it at that and say, thank you very much for your offer. And could you please, if they are going to make an offer, could you please confirm that offer in writing? Okay, so ask for it always in writing. I've heard of so many people who had offers, verbal offers, and then something happened and it fell through. So always ask for those offers in writing. Are you all still happy? So Monique says, I always get anxious when it comes to salary negotiations. I'll normally just accept, mainly because I'm so scared to potentially lose the opportunity. So Monique, yes, I understand that. And that is why preparation is so, so important. So make sure that you do that preparation in front of the mirror. And the more you do it, the more calm you will become. All right. And then remember to state that number, state your reasons or your achievements, and then be quiet and wait. And it'll be amazing. And yes, absolutely. Zip it. Okay. All right. So then negotiation with recruiters. So recruiters are often overlooked in the negotiation process, but they can be really, really powerful allies in your quest to get salary parity. So I always start my interviews by understanding why a candidate wants to leave their current position. If it's because of a need for growth or further knowledge or to experience different sectors or because of stagnation or maybe a glass ceiling, I'm all in. If it's solely because they want a higher salary, I generally walk away. My experience is that candidates will move from job to job just to push up their salary. So I'm very, very careful around that. But if they're in a job where they're massively underpaid, and they can prove that, right? And I can see that in the research, I will do my best to help that candidate to get to a salary that gives them parity. Obviously, it depends on their experience, but if I can see the experience and the value that they're bringing, I will certainly do my best to get them on a par with others in their industry. I have interviewed many women and men who have been completely underpaid by employers. So, you know, that is an issue. And we know that from the research that women are underpaid versus men in most industries. So again, be firm on your number, not aggressive, just be firm. Not all recruiters are good negotiators. They'll literally just take that number and refer, or if it's too high, they'll just regret you. So you need to feel them out. And I think, again, with recruiters, it's very, very important to frame your salary ask with your achievements. You have to prove why you're asking for that number. It doesn't need to feel desperate. You can just calmly say, I'm asking for this because I know that in my industry at this level, people are earning X, Y, Z, and I have achieved X, Y, Z for my company and for previous companies. And based on that, I feel this is a fair number. So share your target salary and maybe your walk away number, up front, so that you stand a better chance of being considered. I think it's also important to suss out the recruiter, whether they are on your side or whether they're purely on the client side, or whether you're just a number, because some recruiters are not great. The other thing also that can be very irritating for a recruiter is if I have negotiated a salary with you in the interview, I then get you an interview with my client, and now you go in at, they ask you what you're looking for, and you go in at a higher number. So please don't do that. Please know your numbers, make notes of, this is the job I applied for, this is the recruiter, this is the number we have agreed on, so that you know. And if you can't remember, before you go for the interview, ask the recruiter, Karen, what was the number that we agreed on when we interviewed, so that I am on a par when I go for an interview with this client. So it's absolutely fine to ask that. So do your homework. Most recruiters earn commission on your package, so a higher salary benefits both of you, but be realistic. Learn who you can trust and learn who will waste your time. There's certain recruiters, I believe, that don't tell people what the salary is upfront. Insist on that. You do not go for an interview unless you know what salary they're offering. Otherwise, don't. Just say, please don't waste my time, So it's also okay to ask a recruiter about the range, and to ask what are similar candidates earning in this role. Absolutely fine to ask that. And just remember to ask before your CV is submitted, please confirm the range you're presenting me at. I think that, treat your recruiter, if they're good, treat them as partners. Build trust. If you feel you're on the same team, they'll fight harder for you. They will. But not all recruiters are equal, so choose your partners wisely. And then challenge assumptions. So if they say, oh, no, I don't think my client will go for that. Ask them, how did you arrive at this figure for me? And it might expose biases or low expectations. And then remember to anchor it again with your achievements. So be clear what's non-negotiable. So your floor salary, know where you will flex. So maybe leave or remote work or bonuses, or whatever it is. And frame it very calmly with, I'd like 700,000, but if the client can only go to 650, I'd need to maybe look at a bonus. Can you tell me about bonuses, or a guarantee to bridge the gap with some extra leave? So be clear about where you are flexible. We also need to be aware of biases. So women can risk backlash for being assertive in the workplace. So when negotiating for a raise in your company, always, as I said, link it to your team and your company goals. Be very, very clear in your ask, and bundle your expectation maybe with something that is flexible. So maybe, I don't know if you want to maybe role play with me, or you've got any questions in terms of what you'd like to ask or discuss in an interview, and where you struggle. So where do you struggle in interview, or where do you struggle in a salary negotiation? Let me know in the comments, and I can maybe help you with that. So Monique, just a quick question. Do you feel, you said you get anxious, do you feel that practicing it with someone or in the mirror would help you to be more calm, assertive in a salary negotiation? Just let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. Thank you. I appreciate the comments, that it's insightful. If there's anything else that you want me just to run through. So I'm just going to recap beforehand. Do your research, get your 3 numbers, your nice to have, your realistic number, and your walk away number. List your achievements, pick your timing when you go and ask for a raise, right? Practice your delivery. And during the interview, anchor high, link it to results. Hold your silence once you've asked. Zip it, keep quiet. And then once they come back with a number, negotiate the package, frame it as a win-win. And after, get the offer in writing, review it calmly, walk away if it's below your minimum, decline gracefully. You never know, they might come back, but stand your ground. Unless you're absolutely desperate, okay? But then you've got to understand that you're going to go in at their mercy, right? And you're going to have to now ask for increases down the line, and it might not be forthcoming. So remember that consistency matters. So the more that you practice, the easier it becomes. It's like anything, right? So salary negotiation doesn't need to be a fight always. It's a structured conversation. The goal is win-win. You get fair pay. The company gets value and commitment from you. And just remember, men ask, women often wait or they hedge. And waiting costs money. It costs you money. So start to learn now to negotiate firmly, calmly, assertively. And remember this quote. I love this quote. It says, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. And I think that that is so, so true. So remember to negotiate firmly and not aggressively. There's an entrepreneur, Mark Cuban. I'm sure that many of you have heard of him. He's a multi-billionaire. And he always says that the best deals leave both sides a little unsatisfied. It's a win-win beats a win-lose, you know. So both parties should not get exactly probably what they want, but close to. He also says that, you know, karma catches up. So if you try to make somebody lose, you'll lose too. So don't be aggressive. You know, don't fight for that absolute last cent. See if there are other ways that you can win in terms of leave or training or whatever it is. And finally, put yourself in the client's shoes. You know, if you don't understand what they want and what their perspective is, it's impossible to negotiate. So be open, listen, and if you need to negotiate a little bit around your comfortable number, that will give everybody a win-win. So Monique says, great, useful tips. Thank you so much, Karen. I think I need to work on my confidence by practicing. Absolutely. So get that mirror out and start practicing. And Zoe says, would be great to have you as a resource to reach out to when going into a negotiation. Absolutely. I am always here. If you need 5 minutes to do, you know, just bounce it off, absolutely, I'm more than happy to help. So ladies, we've been going sort of for about 30 odd minutes. I don't want to take more of your time. If there are any other negotiation techniques that you want me to focus on, please ask. Zoe also says some recruiters don't play open cards and you go for you go in not knowing what is appropriate to ask for. Absolutely. And that's why you need to be firm with recruiters. Not aggressive, just firm to say, please, can you tell me what the salary on offer is? I cannot engage or go any further in the process unless I know what the number is. So be assertive. Don't let them bully you. Unfortunately, in my industry, there are many people who have not been properly trained, who are very aggressive. They're only in it for the money. They are desperate. Some of them, they're only earning commission. They don't earn a salary, whatever it is. And it is what it is. So just be firm, be kind, always be kind, and walk away, if you need to. There will be other roles. You are worth so much more than having to scrabble for what you're not worth. So remember to write down your achievements, and those achievements, please, please, please put them on your salary. I would love to do a podcast just on writing CVs. I don't know if people, there's so many courses, but people don't seem to get it. I'm talking about from junior right up to executive level, where I look at CVs and they are appalling. They're absolutely appalling. So let me know if you want me to do a podcast on that, and I will certainly do my best. So thank you, ladies. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. And if you need to get hold of me, my contact details are in LinkedIn. You're welcome to reach out and have a chat. Thank you again. And I will post this video in YouTube. So if there's anybody that you know that you want to watch this podcast, please refer them to my YouTube channel. All right. Also, maybe subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I will be doing more podcasts, and it would be lovely to have you there. Thank you again, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Take care.